Hello everyone, I'm Paul McGuire Grimes. If you've ever followed my site or know my work, you know that I love the Scream franchise, so I thought it was the perfect time to go back and look at the killers in Scream. This is Behind the Mask, my ranking of the killers in the Scream franchise. So for the last 5 Scream movies, we've had 9 people don the Ghostface costume. All different killers, all different relationships to the main character. So let's take a look at those. Coming in at number 9 is Roman Bridger, played by Scott Foley in Scream 3. Now, not everyone loved Scream 3, certainly coming off of how strong Scream 2 was. You know, Kevin Williamson couldn't return to write the final part of his trilogy, and it really suffered without his kind of crisp and unique writing. Now, Ghostface was revealed to be Roman Bridger, who was the director of Stab 3 and then revealed to be Sidney's mysterious half-brother. Now, I don't blame Foley, but I think pulling the rug out from the audience with this family connection just seemed to be a little too lackluster. I mean, yes, we've dealt with family themes in Scream, but this was like so out of left field. Now, why not make it then one of the Stab 3 actors, or even the Lance Hendrickson character, who was the studio head who had a history with Maureen Prescott? Coming in at number 8 is Charlie Walker, played by Rory Culkin in Scream 4. Now, Charlie was the film-obsessed film student who belonged to the Woodsboro High Film Club. Now, he really was a cross between Randy, but had a darker vibe like Mickey in Scream 2. Now, I really love the meta remake vibe of Scream 4, but I think that the reveal of it being Charlie was just a little too spot on and easy. Coming in at number 7 is Amber Freeman, played by Mikey Madison in Scream 2022, or Scream 5, or just Scream. Now, the opening sequence had Jenna Ortega's character, Tara, nearly killed by Ghostface, and for the rest of the movie, her best friend Amber was right by her side. You know, Amber had kind of a sick and twisted side to her and was then revealed to be the killer in the end, and it was her who found out about Tara's past and then hooked up with Richie over a Reddit channel, and then they plotted the entire thing. Now, if you look closely, whenever Ghostface calls a victim, the phone usually states, maybe Amber Freeman. So the directors are clearly telling us who the killer is early on if people were paying attention. Now, another noteworthy tidbit about this character is her death by going up in flames. It really mirrors that of Mikey Madison's character in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Again, another really clever reference that I don't know if a lot of people picked up on. Coming in at number 6 is Mickey, played by Timothy Olyphant in Scream 2. He was the freaky Tarantino film student, according to Randy. Now, in the scene between Randy and Dewey going over possible suspects, Randy mentions Mickey but then quickly moves on because if Mickey's a suspect, then Randy's a suspect. Mickey was the bad boy of this movie, kind of following in Billy's footsteps, but he never dated Sidney like Billy did. Mickey was the hotshot, know-it-all, and Timothy Olyphant really made him this kind of fun, crazy killer. But the reveal in the end wasn't all that surprising that it was Mickey. Coming in at number 5 is Jill Roberts, played by Emma Roberts in Scream 4. Now, Jill was set up as the innocent cousin to Sidney Prescott, living in Woodsboro, attending Woodsboro High. Now, she recently had broken up with her boyfriend, Trevor, and just spent her time having fun, hanging out, watching scary movies with her BFFs, Kirby and Olivia. Now, Charlie was, like I mentioned, the obvious killer in Scream 4. So I really was surprised when the second killer was revealed to be Emma Roberts, who then just lets it rip by having Jill just throw herself around, stabbing herself, crashing onto a table to make it look as if she was a victim all along. Now, she's then taken to the hospital where people think, oh, you're the hero. Not so much, because then Gail and Sidney have their way with the defibrillator. Remember the paddle scene at the end? It was so great. I remember cheering in the theater when that happened. Coming in at number 4 is Richie, played by Jack Quaid in the new Scream, 2022, Scream 5, whatever you want to call it. Now, Jack Quaid is just so lovable that I didn't want him to be the killer in Scream. He was Sam's boyfriend, who was fairly oblivious to horror movies, so he claimed. So he was really kind of laying low with all of the requel talk, but his true identity of being a crazed killer was revealed And then once that happened, he took off the mask and just let loose. And of course, we've got that boyfriend angle again, kind of mirroring Billy, the remake, the reboot, the requel, kind of played in order. I should have figured it out early on. Coming in at number 3, speaking of boyfriends, is Billy Loomis, played by Skeet Ulrich in Scream, the original one. We have to go back to where it all began with Sidney's boyfriend, Billy. He was always frustrated that Sidney wouldn't have sex with him, and then she started to get suspicious about her own boyfriend. And there's that great scene at the video store where Randy pins the murders on Billy, only to have Billy standing behind him the entire time when Randy goes off on his whole prom night, everybody's a suspect monologue. Kevin Williamson, though, then fakes us out later on when we see Ghostface stab Billy. But then we see Billy stumbling down the stairs, revealing that he faked his death using pig's blood, just like they used using corn syrup, like they used for pig's blood in Carrie. Coming in at number 2, the great Mrs. Loomis, aka Debbie Salt, played by Laurie Metcalf in Scream 2. Now, Debbie Salt was this desperate reporter on the scene at Windsor College when the Ghostface killings started popping up again. Now, she is a big fan of Gail's, but Gail is having none of her fandom. The scenes between Courtney Cox and Laurie Metcalf are incredible. But the big reveal of Debbie Salt actually being Mrs. Loomis comes at the end when Sidney sees her for the first time. Now, I'm still confused on how Sidney didn't cross paths with her early in the movie, but it's a very genius reveal by Mickey, who kind of plotted this whole thing out with her. And Metcalf goes fully psychotic in the end, blaming Sidney for killing her son Billy. And Metcalf knew the exact tone that she was playing with, and I think will always be a fan favorite character. Now, if you're counting down, we're coming to number 1. There's only one left. That is Stu Macher, played by Matthew Lillard in the original Scream. Now, Stu was Billy's best friend, Tatum's boyfriend, who threw a big party at his house to celebrate school closing. And Matthew Lillard made Stu the comic relief in the movie. He was the fun-loving, party animal goofball that just kind of countered all of the undeniable scares and thrills that this film had. Fans have really theorized that he could possibly still be alive despite a TV falling on his head. But I, for one, think that he's dead. I do not want him to pop up in Scream 6, as I think that would just feel too cheap and too gimmicky. I do love the idea, though, that some fans have, that maybe Stu had a little bit of a crush on Billy. There's some subtle glances and some cues that could lead down this queer angle, and it's quite possible that he had feelings for Billy, and that his feelings could be stronger than the ones he had for Tatum. Sidney even asks him, "Stu, what's your motive?" And he responds, "Peer pressure, I'm far too sensitive." Maybe he just wanted to please Billy all along. I mean, Stu's a great character. I love the character of Stu. He was my number 1 killer of Ghostface in the Scream franchise. So let's go back and through them again. Number 9, Roman Bridger, Scott Foley in Scream 3. Number 8, Charlie Walker's, played by Rory Culkin in Scream 4. Number 7, Amber Freeman, Mikey Madison's character in Scream 2022, Scream 5. Number 6 is Mickey, played by Timothy Olyphant in Scream 2. Number 5, Jill Roberts, played by Emma Roberts in Scream 4. Coming in at number 4 was Richie, played by Jack Quaid in Scream 5, Scream 2022. Number 3, of course, Billy Loomis, played by Skeet Ulrich in Scream. Number 2, Mrs. Loomis, aka Debbie Salt, in Scream 2, of course, played to perfection by Laurie Metcalf. And then coming in at number 1, Stu Macher, Matthew Lillard's iconic character in the original Scream. My mom and dad are going to be so mad at me. Number 1. Thank you so much for watching my ranking of the killers in Scream, all those that donned the Ghostface costume. Let me know. I'd love to hear from you on the comments on YouTube. Follow me on social media at Paul's Movie Trip on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter. Leave me a comment. What do you think of the Scream franchise? And then go to my website, paulstriptothemovies.com, for even more Scream retrospective, my reviews of all these movies and interviews with Jack Quaid, Neve Campbell, David Arquette, the actors from the new Scream. I loved talking with them. So thank you so much for watching my video ranking the killers in Scream.